What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. If you are on the podcast platforms, please do go ahead and subscribe. And if you are listening to this on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And while you're at it, go ahead and hit that like button. It's like walking into the room and hitting that light switch. Let's just go ahead and brighten up the place. And let's get into this conversation/reality chat. So I spoke about Zolciak Biermann a few months ago when it was reported that her mansion was being foreclosed on, and definitely not celebrating it, but wanted to talk about the news. And then it came out that she did a video saying that she was not losing her home and that the haters are mad, and she clapped back to the supposed haters. I guess those of us who talked about the situation would be called haters. But, she definitely is one to not be honest. We've seen that, those of us who've watched The Real Housewives of Atlanta over the years, how she has lied about a lot of things. I mean, from the beginning, when the first reunion for the first season of The Real Housewives of Atlanta was airing, a lot of people had questions about her hair. She was wearing these horrible wigs. The wigs were synthetic. They looked synthetic. And she was spending Big Papa's money like there was no tomorrow. She was ordering Chanel bags and shoes and, getting an Escalade, paying for it with a check that she wrote when she called up Big Papa from the dealership and said she wanted to buy this truck. I don't remember if it was an Escalade or what it was. I think it was an Escalade. This was back in 2010 or 9. I can't remember when the first season aired, but if you recall, she was spending money like there was no tomorrow, and she continued to showcase her bad way of handling money over the years, as she has been on The Real Housewives of Atlanta and as she has been on her own show, Don't Be Tardy, which got canceled a few years ago. I didn't really watch the show. I've seen some clips here and there, and honestly, I was just disgusted by it. I saw this one scene where she allowed her young son, I believe it was Croy Jr., to curse at Sweetie, her former nanny, maid, and what she called her friend. And it was ridiculous. I was disgusted by it, and I've spoken about it before when it comes to Kim. One of the reasons why I don't care for her, I don't care for people who are despicable to their parents, especially on a public platform. And she was pretty despicable to her parents. I don't think that she has a relationship with her parents anymore. She's had all of these kids since she has not been speaking to her parents. And so I'm assuming her parents don't have a relationship with any of her new children that she's had since she had the two older daughters that they helped her out with. Like, she admitted it while she was on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. But anyway, I wanted to talk about this because I feel that when it comes to people like Kim and Jen Shah of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, she and people like Jen, and there's some others too, I'm just not going to go down the whole list of everybody today because I don't want to make this a very long piece of content, but the disaster that the Housewives franchise has made when it comes to these women like these people, the two that I named, but there's others, who get this false sense of importance from being on the show, and then they also want to showcase a lifestyle that they're really not even living. Well, on the mansion, the story is, according to People, Kim and Croy defaulted on a $1.65 million loan they took out for the house in October 2012. After a flurry of high-profile home invasions last year, Atlanta PD warned rich people to stop displaying their homes on social media. Criminals are always on the lookout for their next target. Well, Kim and Kroy, they took out an additional $300,000 mortgage on the house for whatever reasons they were, and they fell behind on those payments. And someone purchased the smaller loan that they had on the house and put an additional lien on the home. Now they've been told that they have to get out because the house will be sold next month. And I'm not celebrating that at all. I don't celebrate anyone's downfall, even people that have done me wrong. I would never celebrate anyone's downfall. But when she did that video clapping back at people for reporting on what was really real, it just showed the arrogance that she continues to live in. And I felt like it was just going to be a matter of time before everything crumbled. And now here we are. And it's sad, but it's the choices that she has made. Well, unless Kim and Kroy can save the house by paying, which I really don't think they're going to be able to do that, because the show that they had got canceled some years ago. And I don't believe Kroy is working in the NFL anymore. I don't know what Kim does for a living. And she's been such a liar. Like, she's lied about so many things. But to be honest with you, I just really believe, and I've said this before, I feel like a lot of this is her karma. She has not been a good person to a lot of people, and especially people that have helped her out. First and foremost, her own parents. And then we saw how she used Kandi when Kandi first came on The Real Housewives of Atlanta, and Kandi, who didn't have to do anything for her, helped her out with her dream of being a one-hit wonder and wrote her another song. And, you know, Kandi was like, okay, the first one, I let you have that, but the second one, we have to get the business right. And Kim snaked her, and I still don't know how Kim won in court, but somehow, look, I don't know if she knew the judge and did some favors with the judge or what. I'm just saying, allegedly. I'm not saying that she did anything, but it just made me wonder how in the world she could win in that situation, because when Kandi was on the reunion and she was really hurt by the situation, she brought it up and she said, you know, I don't know how you think that it's fair for me to get whatever the small amount of change was that Kandi said that she got, and Kim was going to get like $80,000. If I'm correct, and I could be wrong with the amount, it could have been something like $10,000 or $20,000 goes to Kandi, and Kim got 80. I don't know. I don't know how the details were written out in the contract that was created in the agreement, but to me, it was just really sad that it had to even be taken to court, because Kim knew that Kandi helped her out in that situation, and she should have just done the right thing instead of having to have Kandi take it there to take it to court, you see? And Candi's just winning all around. You know, I'm not saying that she's perfect and she's everything that she puts her hands to, everything she touches turns to gold. I'm not saying that, but for a comparison purpose, definitely Kandi is winning over Kim. And you just can't do people like that and think that you're going to win in the end. You may get by, but you do not get away. That's an old saying that my mom has, and I definitely stand by that. So you've got Kim and Kroy getting ready to get kicked out of the big house, and then you've got Jen Shah, who has reported to the big house. And this is why I wanted to talk about this, because I'm definitely not blaming Kim for Jen being who she was and coming to the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, showcasing this lavish lifestyle that she was living, spending, I think it was like $80,000 on a birthday party for Meredith, and all of this stuff that she was doing. She was living fraudulently. She had like 50 servants, and I'm exaggerating, but she definitely had double-digit assistants. And it's like, for what? What do you really do? And when they tried to ask her what she did for a living, what she was saying didn't even make any sense. And then it turns out that she was scamming older and elderly people to get their credit cards and scamming them to have them buy services and products that they did not want or need. And now she's got to serve 6.5 years in prison. I don't know if she's going to have to serve the entire time, but she's reported to the Texas prison to begin serving a 6.5-year sentence. So you wanted to get the exposure and the fame. They want to live this lifestyle that is not real for the majority of the people who are living in this country. They call it a top 1% for a reason. And then they have a smaller percentage that's under the 1%. And then you just continue to trickle down. The majority of people are in the middle class. And the middle class, we are the ones who really get it the hardest when it comes to the taxes and all of the things that we have to pay for. Like I've said this to someone before. I am a small business owner. I have been for over 14 years now, and actually a little longer than that. But one of my current businesses, I've been operating for a little over 14 years. When things happen in this country, inflation and all of those different things happen, we have to raise prices or we have to do things here and there. We're the ones that really suffer with it, because people may complain and argue about gas prices or the prices of products in Target and the different grocery stores that they go to or wherever, but they're still going to shop at those places. But when it comes to smaller businesses like ours, you know, people don't understand it. And some people, they'll just stop coming. They'll stop spending their money, you know, so it's real out here. A lot of these real housewives, we already know they're not living reality, but for these people to think that they are so special and so privileged to come to these platforms immediately living a fraudulent lifestyle. I don't believe Kim, even though she was living shiesty because she was being taken care of by a married man, and she admitted it, and she never revealed him on the show, but that information has since, you know, come out years ago about who he really was, and I believe he's still with his wife. So Kim definitely did not win. But Jen came on living a completely fraudulent lifestyle and showcasing that to the public and trying to make people believe that she was more than what she really was. So ET reported that she reported to the Texas prison. It's a federal prison camp in Bryan, Texas, and they're saying that they're not going to release information on the conditions of her confinement because of privacy and security reasons. But she released a statement on Instagram revealing that an administrator will be running her accounts to keep the hashtag Shah Squad updated during her prison sentence. How are you paying for that? Because don't you owe like so much money to the victims and to the federal government for the crimes that you committed? Like, how are you even like, and that's the thing, even behind bars, they still want to showcase a life that isn't really real. You should just fall off of the grid. And if you want to come back, because I believe people deserve, if they have really sought forgiveness and they're really truly repentant, I believe people deserve a second chance. I do. And I don't even say a second chance because we're imperfect. We sometimes make bad decisions. What she did was horrible. And it wasn't just a bad decision, it was a crime. You know, not everybody commits crimes. All of us at some point in our life, we make bad decisions, but not everyone commits crimes. She committed a crime. Serve your time. Do what you're supposed to do behind the prison walls. Come out, redeem yourself, make things right with these people, and then maybe make a comeback. But to be continuously on social media while you're behind bars having this is the stuff that I'm talking about. These people, they want to showcase a lifestyle that isn't really real. And then when it comes to Kim, she did that video last year where she was responding to the reports of the foreclosure, and saying that she's going to be in her house for as long as she wants to be there. Well, it doesn't look that way. And Jen, now she has a website called jenshah.com, and she claims that she's going to be showcasing her journey through prison. She's going to be documenting things, and just, of course, it's going to be for a fee because it's a subscription-based website. And she claims she's doing it because this is the way that she's going to redeem herself and make things right with the victims, because she owes a lot of money. She turned down the one-on-one with Andy Cohen because she claimed that she wouldn't really have control over that, and she wanted to be able to tell her true story. But the thing with these housewives, especially the ones that come out and claim, oh, well, the editing and things like that. You remember Monique Samuels, and she's claimed that she's never going to do reality TV again because she doesn't really get to tell her real story. If you're really living your real, authentic life, yeah, they're going to show the parts that are going to be what a lot of people see as interesting. So if you're having an argument or a fight with your spouse, but you don't want people to see that, they're going to show that. That's honestly more, and it sucks, but that's what these shows are. It's drama. It's going to get more traction and more people watching and interested in it than you with the kids playing at the park or going on vacation and having a great time. That's the type of show that you all have chosen to be on. So with Jen claiming she wouldn't have the creative control that she wanted, and she wanted to be able to control her story and them not sensationalize, girl, if you want to be honest for once and you're just saying what actually happened, that's all they can show. Yeah, they may not play every single word that you said, but whatever, you would have gotten paid for it. And don't you need the money to pay these victims and pay the restitution? So, they just want to showcase things the way that they want to showcase them. And even when you're being kicked out of your home or you're going to the big house like Kim and Jen, they still want to show things that are not really real. Jen was trying to play it up like this is going to be I don't want to say a good time in terms of like having fun, but this is going to be like a good time for her to really get back connected with her family and to her faith and things like that. And we know people usually do that when they get their freedom taken away from them. It's usually all that they got if they have family, but definitely they can read books and read the Bible or the Quran or whatever faith books that they choose to indulge in and read. We know that. But, she's trying to tug on the heartstrings of people when you defrauded so many people, and up until the very end you were denying that you did anything wrong. Let's not forget that she was not pleading guilty until she really felt like she had no other choice. And even through the last season, which I did not watch it, I tried to and I just couldn't, of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, she was making herself out to be the victim, and she's fighting for her life, and she didn't do these things. And then she finally pled guilty after the show was filmed. Okay. And then Kim, you haters, you MFers, you're going to be crying when you see that I'm still in my home for birthdays and holidays and all this other stuff. And look at my beautiful home. Like she was doing a video walking through the mansion, showing everything off. Well, it looks like you were definitely just trying to save face for a little bit of time. I guess hoping they would be able to rack up the cash to really save the house, and they couldn't do it because you don't have the income coming in. And the pride that she walks in, because she controls that man. Listen, however people choose to operate in their marriages is how they choose to operate. Period. But she controls that man. If she had, and he's younger than her too, not saying that that means anything because she's not the brightest bulb in the box either. But if they truly work together instead of her just walking with, the pride that she always walks in, maybe they could have saved face and just downgraded their lifestyle, sold the house, get the money that they could get. They could get a nice home. They don't have to live in a $2.5 million mansion. Like, that's the thing about people like the Kims and the Jens. They want to portray a lifestyle that they really were never able to really operate in. You know, people are trying to live just comfortably these days because rents are jacked up, mortgage rates have increased, home values have drastically just skyrocketed because, in my opinion, I feel that when I say they, I mean the powers that be, they don't really want people to own homes anymore. They really would prefer for corporations to own the homes and people rent from the corporations. They don't really want people to be owners of homes anymore. And I'm probably going to do a separate conversation talking about that. I'm not going to go into all of that right now, but I'm just saying these people who are on these housewife shows, they really like the Kims and the Jens, because I know it's not everyone, but they really want to try to portray a lifestyle that they never were living. So it was never real. So Real Housewives, just take the real off of it. Honestly, take the housewives off of it too. But it's just not a surprise to me to see the downfall of people like the Kims and the Jens who have been on the Real Housewives franchises, and they want to just continue to try to cling on to a lifestyle that they never were really living. So guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode. Thank you so much for subscribing if you have not already done so. I am Beth, and I'm just being beautifully honest. So until the next time, I just wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.